Right, now we're going off to Marwell Zoo, the brainchild of John Knowles. Now, I remember, Desmond, even as recently as last year, we had a lot of discussions about zoos, and you weren't that keen, were you?
No, but I've had to change my tune because the more I've seen of the wild places in the last year or so, the more worried I've got, because the animals are having such a rough time. I mean, you look at the rhinos in Africa, they're almost extinct now. And the way the poachers are winning the battle, I'm sad to say, you really feel that unless zoos do something and keep some animals in captivity, that we will lose these animals forever, and that would be terrible. So where zoos are working to save animals from extinction, then yes, we've got to take them into account.
And John is doing what he can.
John, this herd of wild horses must be one of your great prides here at Marwell.
It's one of our many prides here at Marwell. It's a great story, the Przewalski horse story. Here was a species that a few collectors wanted at the beginning of this century, became extinct in the wild because enough people were interested. We now have over 1,000 of them in zoos in the world.
Many as that?
Growing at 10% annually. We're in a position to put them back in Mongolia. We've got 13 here, but we've bred over 100, and we have them parked in other zoos, in private collections, all over the place now.
It's wonderful. But these are kept in a group. Presumably that's the big stallion, the rest are all his mares. You only have one adult stallion here.
Yes. In the limited space we've got here, about 4 hectares for the horses, that's about all that you could have, because if there's a conflict situation, there's nowhere far enough for the loser of the struggle for the harem to go and be totally safe.
Some of the young ones here, I see a couple of young males. Presumably they'll soon have to be separated.
Between 18 months and 2 years, depending a little on the character of the stallion. These are great individualists. Every herd stallion we've had has been different, including one who couldn't stand bald heads.
Oh, thank you for that thought. Keep out of his way. Let's just have a closer look at the horses, because they've got interesting markings. They have a white muzzle, and of course the most significant thing of all is the mane. They have this very beautiful stiff mane. Now, of course, that's what makes them the wild horse in a way, because all the domestic horses have the floppy mane. But it does give them that beautiful shape, doesn't it?
Well, there's the erect mane, the dorsal stripe, a very narrow base to the tail.
Yes.
And if you look closely at the legs, and it's particularly visible in their summer coat, zebra-like markings on them.
Oh, yes, I can see those now. They're very clearly just there. You can see the zebra markings on the legs. And now you mentioned it, of course, the dorsal stripe, the stripe right down the middle of the back, and it goes on down the middle of the tail.
Right. And there's the mealy nose, which they have in common with the Exmoor pony, which is probably the oldest lineage of our British ponies.
But you mentioned about putting them back into Mongolia, but isn't that pretty risky still?
The Mongolians realized that they lost something when they lost this horse. They call them the Tarkis, which is their symbol for freedom. And of course, although they've got masses of domestic horses, they know that these are something different, because the difference that we can't see is 2 more chromosomes than any domestic horse. So people say, oh, these are breed of horse. No, these are no more related to the Shire horse and Shetland pony than a zebra is.
So to sum up, John, this is a zoo success story. Zoos have saved the wild horse from extinction, and if it weren't for you and people like you, the wild horse would be no more. So it's a very important story. And this isn't, of course, the only one here at Marwell. You're also taking care of another very rare species. This one, a completely different kind. Sarah's having a look at them now, and you've just got some new cubs. So let's join Sarah for a minute.
Right.
This could be a very short interview. We have 2 gorgeous snow leopard cubs here in someone's private garden here at Marwell. Phil looks after them. You're head of the, well, big cats, I suppose you'd say.
Yes, yeah? the carnivore section.
These are little, but they'll grow, what? How tall?
I suppose weight-wise, they'll probably go around about 70 kilograms, something like that. At the moment, they're probably about 8 kilograms, 8, 9 kilograms,
right,
something
how
like
old?
that. How old? 12 weeks tomorrow.
A handful?
Yes, an armful, I'd say, never mind a handful.
Now, snow leopards, are they on the endangered or vulnerable list?
They're an endangered species. The field data on them is pretty sparse because of the actual habitat they come from.
Which is way up in the Himalayas, isn't it?
In the Himalayas,
Cold,
that's
cold,
right,
cold.
yes. I mean, the snow leopards can go up to sort of 19,000 feet.
Yeah.
So the actual chance of researchers actually seeing them are pretty remote.
So we don't
really.
know very much about them?
Very little, very little. Fortunately, collections around the world are starting to do very well with them.
These are scientific collections,
This
aren't
is
they?
zoological establishments, yes.
And will they ever be put back in the wild or not?
That's a very, very difficult question to answer. Obviously, the problems that has caused their demise in the wild have to be solved first of all.
And that's not easier said than done, is it?
Not easy. Snow leopards have a tendency, obviously, as man encroaches on their habitat, wild prey species are being substituted by the villagers, sheep, etc., grazing higher and higher up the mountains.
Which pushes the leopard further up, presumably.
And it also brings the leopard into conflict with the villagers and with humans.
Now, a leopard needs a tree more than a lot of space, I believe. Now, what do these need in captivity?
I think we down there have a rock face for them to climb on, and it's amazing how they blend into that background. And even myself, it's right outside the meat room yard where I work, and you tend to look for one of them, and you're staring straight at it, but you can't see it. It's just blended into the background, and I'm actually knowing what I'm looking for.
Right. But it's not a real leopard, is it? It's called a snow leopard. But
It's called a snow leopard. I think early taxonomists had a bit of a dilemma in how to actually classify them. There isn't actual proof of them being able to purr. Small cats purr, and the large cats, i.e. Panthera, which is what they're in, theoretically can't purr. They can only roar.
And what will you feel like? I mean, I always ask something sentimental like this, but you know, you've seen them born, you've brought them up, and then suddenly somebody out there will say, well, they've got to go to Bogota or whatever. What do you feel like when you actually say goodbye to, you know, where your babe is?
You try not to get too attached. It is a problem, I know, when you see them like this. But the cats are a species, especially big cats like this, are something which this might be the last time, no, tomorrow, to tell a lie, tomorrow when we actually vaccinate them, might be the last time we'll actually pick them up.
Really?
So,
I'm very privileged then.
Yes, we don't make it an actual policy to handle cubs.
Yes.
I'd much prefer it if they totally ignored me and just
Yeah.
got on with their own family life, to be honest.
Sure.
I'm not actually trying to be a friend to them.
Yeah.
I'd rather they ignored me, got on with what they wanted
Yeah.
to do.
Well said. But look at those blue eyes. I've never seen blue eyes like that.
That's right.
God, they're
Great big
cold though,
paws.
aren't they? Yeah,
Great big
big
paws.
paws. Great
And the
big blue
tail
eyes.
eventually will grow to about 3 foot long.
Phil, thank you very much. They're lovely, and we wish them well. Very lucky, actually. It's a smashing day to see Beachy Head. Have you ever seen it before?
No, I've never been here before.
No, it's brilliant. What they're doing, they being Eastbourne Council, they're trying to get walkers away from the coast to bring them in here so they can appreciate the... Well, in fact, they've made a circular walk and then they can see some of the inland. And also, there are a lot of wild flowers on right at the side of the beach there, you know, the head of the cliff. And they're hoping that the wind is going to bring them in, and so maybe the wild orchid would come back, which would be lovely.
Marvellous, yes. Certainly plenty of fresh air here.
Yeah, well, it's nice to be a shepherd on a day like this, but not so perhaps in the winter. They're great sheep, aren't they? Look.
Yes, those are the Southdown sheep. They're a very ancient breed. They've been here, I believe, for over 500 years, though the breed's been improved since then.
But what a life to be a shepherd. Because it was lonely, wasn't it? Because they just stayed here the whole time with them.
This particular area, there have been shepherds tending their flocks here for literally thousands of years. And there are a lot of ancient superstitions attached to shepherding here.
What are you
And
fiddling around for in your pocket?
I have in my pocket here, just so happens, what is called...
Is this one you made earlier?
Yes, this is one I prepared earlier. Now, this is a shepherd's crown.
Oh, yeah.
Every shepherd had one of these in his pocket, and in particular, it protected them from lightning. So whenever there was a thunderstorm, he'd put his hand in his pocket and hang on to that, and he'd feel safe. Indeed, it was so important to them as a protective device that they were even buried with it. And they know that because when they dig them up, they find in the old burials, they find one of these.
And the shepherds also have, if I remember rightly, a very peculiar way of counting sheep. For example, in the village of Southeast, which I'm sure you know well, counting sheep, they would go 1 the rum, 2 the rum, cow the rum, coo the rum, sin the rum, sand the rum, wine barrel, jig tarrel, diddle den.
No, I'm very sorry. It's not a bit like that. Where I come from, it's 1 the rum, 2 the rum, cock the rum, coo the rum, sether shather wineberry, wigtail, taradiddle den.
Desmond, Beachy Head's over there. Why don't you go for quite a long walk?
Well, by the way, do you know why they only count up to 10?
I think you're going to tell me.
Because after that they fall asleep.
Oh. It's the 3rd year running for the Anglia Meridian Animal Country Award, a trophy, as you can see here, beautiful Waterford crystal plate.
And a cheque for £3,000 for the person or group of people who've done most for animals in some way, in the opinion of the judges.
Yes, we're looking for people who've really put themselves out for animals.
People we'll be meeting in the course of this series, and believe me, some of them really have put themselves out.
We're in the middle of Thetford Forest, a secretive place. The big house is long gone, and so are the lords and ladies. They say D-Day was planned here, and the Tutankhamun expedition to Egypt. Now badger and deer share the tranquility with Fiona Dixon's bees. I know very little about bees. I suspect not a lot of people do. I know they make honey and I know they can sting you. So maybe we should start, do you think we should start with the pecking order?
Yes, why not? That's a good idea. OK, well, there's the queen. She's the most important.
There's only one?
There's only one queen. There can be 2 queens, but it's unusual, right. And I won't go into that. So basically, she's the most important. She lays the eggs turn into the workers, so depending on the sort of eggs that she's laid, how they've been fertilised by which drone.
Hang on, you've thrown in drone. What is a drone?
Drone is the male bee.
So she's got all these men and only one woman?
Yes. Well, all the workers are women.
Oh, right.
But they haven't got properly developed ovaries.
It's a very complex business. I can understand why you're interested in it.
Yes. Well, they're perhaps there are very few creatures on this earth that are capable of what they call parthenogenesis, which is virgin birth. And worker bees, in certain circumstances when they haven't got a queen, their ovaries can develop and they can start laying eggs, but only male eggs.
I think I'm with you. It's incredibly complicated.
Yeah.
And they live in a
hive.
Hive.
Or a colony.
Right. And do they stay there all their lives?
No, they swarm.
Does the swarm mean when they move? I've always thought a swarm was, you see this great big thing buzzing off.
Well, it's basically when there are so many bees in the hive, somebody's got to go because there's just too many. It can't accommodate all the bees. So the old queen flies off with a whole load of wax-working bees, and they go and cling in a tree somewhere, and eventually they find a new nest. But they've left behind a new virgin queen, and that starts again.
How long does an average bee last?
Well, in summer, the worker bee generally lasts for about 3 weeks. She works herself to death, basically.
That's all?
And then in winter, the winter bees, of course, they're in the hive most of the winter, in a sort of hibernation. They do come out when it's a sunny day, but and they can last for sort of 3 to 6 months.
So short life.
Very short. But the queen, on the other hand, can live up to 5 years.
How often would you go and look at your hives?
Well, about every 2 weeks.
Oh, you leave them as long as that?
Yeah.
You don't feed them anything?
I might have to feed them. I've got a hive over there, actually, which I collected from the church. It's a swarm. And I had a look in there a month ago to see if they'd got enough stores for the winter, because they need about 40 pounds. And they
40
hadn't.
pounds
of honey.
honey.
And they hadn't. They'd scarcely got 5. So I had to feed them with sugar syrup.
All right.
So I might boost up what they've got, but I generally like to leave them with what they've collected, because after all, they've worked themselves to death for it.
But then what happens when we take it away from them?
Well, a beekeeper has to be very careful. He mustn't take, or she mustn't take too much honey away. It's very important, otherwise the bees will die. In the countryside, we do have a problem now with oilseed rape, and if we didn't take that honey away from them, the bees can't survive on it. It turns so rock hard, it turns like stone, it bends a spoon if you put it in. Some plants, like oilseed rape, have a much higher content of glucose as opposed to fructose. And a honey that has a higher fructose to glucose ratio will stay liquid longer. So within 7 days of extracting oilseed rape, it will turn rock solid, whereas an acacia or maybe even lime would stay liquid for perhaps a year.
And then we have the beeswax.
Yes.
I mean, we literally say busy as bees, don't we? We've got beeswax here. That's marvellous stuff. Now, what is this revolting looking
Yes,
stuff?
not many people know about this. This revolting stuff, well, isn't so revolting actually. It might look it, but it's propolis, and
I'll show it to people.
this is what the bees collect from trees like horse chestnut. You know, the sticky stuff on the buds.
Yeah.
They collect that, and they sort of glue parts of the hive together to make them secure. They fill up gaps with it.
Yeah.
It's actually antibiotic. And,
Really?
It was used in the Boer War, I believe. They mixed it with Vaseline or lanolin, I'm not sure, and it stops all the gangrene. It stopped all the gangrene on the soldiers' legs and things.
Good heavens.
Yeah.
Well, I've really learnt a lot, and I'm sure Animal Country viewers have as well. I can understand your fascination. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Many people have experienced that awful moment when they find an injured bird in the garden and they don't know what to do about it.
Oh, it's a horrible feeling. And what you actually do is you do nothing. And you walk away because of your own ignorance. And actually you're thinking about yourself instead of the injured bird. It's horrible.
But they really don't know what to do. One man who does know what to do has spent years studying the problem.
About 20 years, I think, to be precise. It all started with a sparrow. His name is Dennis Fenter. Hi, Dennis.
Hello there.
Well, give us the benefit then of your knowledge and all those years. What should you do if you just find a bird, whether it's a young or a mature bird in your garden?
It depends very much on circumstances. If it's a young bird, the answer is that in all probability it's being fed by its parents. If there's no injury, leave well alone.
Don't touch it at all.
Don't touch it at all. You'll scare the parents away. And they can feed the bird far better than we can. There is a chance, of course, as we often get told, there's a cat staring at it. But if the cat isn't likely to pounce, you know, leave well alone. Mum will look after it.
Right.
If it's an injured bird, the answer is bring it to us, which may sound an easy answer, but if you don't know where we are, most bird hospitals and rehabilitation units are in yellow pages or in local directories, or the police or the RSPCA know where they are.
Underneath Bird Hospital or...
Yes, or Wildlife Trust or so on.
So what situation are the seagulls that you've got here? 'Cause are they about to be released? What stage are they at?
Most of the seagulls we've got at the moment are either juveniles we've hand-reared or are permanently disabled. They've lost wingtips or something like that. So they've got us a permanent rest home, free bed and breakfast for life.
What about the swans?
Probably 50% of the swans we've got here will be released eventually. The other 4 or 5 are permanent residents. They've got wings in peculiar positions or partially missing.
What's caused that?
They hit power lines, they get hit by cars.
They land on roads, don't they, thinking it's water?
And, well, in a very wet weather, a road can jolt just like a river, and they will land on it.
You've got a cormorant over there. How did that one come to you?
That was a peculiar case. It came in about 3 years ago. It can fly, there's no reason why it shouldn't leave us at all, but it doesn't want to. It had the tip of its beak totally chopped off. One can only assume it got in the way of a boat's propeller or something like that.
Dennis, you've been doing this, Sarah said,
20 years, isn't
20
it?
years. Now, how on earth do you finance it?
With great difficulty. We became a trust in '78, and up to then it was basically financed purely by my then wife and myself. I have now, for the first time in 20 years, got a paid assistant who does help a lot enormously to have her.
And you get some help from the local prison?
Yes, Ford Prison send us a couple of lads every day. They do a lot of the maintenance, they do all the outside feeding, and we find they're very useful indeed.
Now, we met, I hate to say it must be 13 years ago?
Yes, somewhere about that, in the early 80s or even late 70s.
And can you remember the bird that brought us together?
Yes, Ollie the owl.
Blind Ollie.
Yes. He was hit by a train at Ford railway station and carried into the station, caught up in the windscreen wiper of the train.
And he's still here.
She's still here. She's totally blind, but gets her way around perfectly.
What other kinds of owls have you got here?
At the moment we have one barn owl, and we have 6 or 7 young tawnies that have been ready for release, and we've got an eagle owl, which of course is a cheat, because it shouldn't really be in a wildlife rehabilitation centre.
Why is it here then?
It was rescued from a pet shop, advertised for sale as an ideal family pet.
Oh, God.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Just how ideal you can imagine when they're quite capable of killing young roe deer, and if some fool takes it home and releases it in their sitting room with a young baby, you know, it could be horrendous.
How many birds do you have altogether here? No, just a rough count. It's too many to know the exact number, I'm sure.
I honestly haven't a clue. I would think somewhere around 200 to 300. There's a lot in the hospital, and we have been getting something like 400 a month over the summer.
Wowee. Dennis, there's been a lot in the papers recently, hasn't there, about people taking birds' eggs? I mean, it's been going on for years. What do you feel about it?
Well, it disgusts me, basically. Birds' eggs are taken for 2 reasons. They're taken by people who want to hatch them and rear them as predators illegally, or they're taken to be blown and put on display. They're both totally illegal, totally irresponsible, especially as a lot of the eggs are taken from endangered species.
Well, Dennis, thank you very much for talking to us, and long may you prosper here with your work. Thousands of birds owe their lives to you, so you must get a lot of satisfaction out of it.
A great deal. Thank you very much.
I'll be sending you my crusts.
Do that.